Well, hello there. Yes, I filmed a Bella Hadid Fox Eye makeup tutorial. Yes, I'm wearing colored contacts. The video I will pop right here. If you missed it, it's a good one. I thought today that I would sit down and just answer your makeup questions because I think everybody's going kind of crazy and I don't know, that's it. Just need some distractions, you know, and I just wanted to film something else. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I did ask you guys here on YouTube in my little community section. I don't know if that's a thing that you get notifications for or if you have to go and check it, but I got a lot of responses, so I am going to be answering your makeup questions. If this is something that you enjoy, let me know in the comments and I can do it more often. Like I can ask you maybe specific topics and then we can kind of like go over them. This is a little bit broad. It's just all makeup. Okay, we have a lot to go through here. So what products are worth investing regarding eye makeup to make it blended and long-lasting? Will good brushes perform well with cheap eyeshadow, or maybe good eyeshadow will do the job with any brush, or is it eye primer that is the most important? Would love to hear your opinion. Stay healthy from Lithuania. Hi, labas. That's interesting. I think that as far as, personally, I think that a lot of like not cheap, but drugstore makeup brands have really like upped their game as far as blending. I love the Maybelline City Mini Palettes. Those are fantastic. They're really well pigmented. They blend really nicely. You don't have to spend a ton of money on brushes though. Like I have a ton of brushes from Morphe that I love and they're so cheap. Like this is the Morphe M573 brush and it's fantastic. Any kind of brush that looks like this, you know, and they have various sizes, which is really helpful. I would say the majority of the brushes that I use are from Morphe because they are affordable and they have such a wide variety. I would say maybe a combination, but you want to make sure that you are like using the correct brushes. So you have like an array of blending brushes. You don't necessarily want a ton of synthetic, like black, cheap looking synthetic e.l.f. brushes. No shade e.l.f. They get the job done, but they're not the best. And then I would say eye primer is really important, or just the way that you are priming your eyes. Like I said in my previous video, or in like a few videos back about eye primer, you don't necessarily have to use an eyeshadow primer. You could use a concealer, you could use like set it with a powder, but basically you just want to make sure that you are priming correctly for eyeshadow. Today, these days, you really don't have to spend like a ton of money on products to get the best blend. It's really just about like using the right eyeshadow brushes, and you can be a little bit more lenient, I think, with your actual eyeshadows. Do you think you could go over how to best do, wow, I need to learn how to read. Do you think you could go over how to best go about doing eyeliner on hooded eyes? That's really tough. She says she gets a lot of transfer and she's tried the Batwing style liner. She finds it to be more time consuming. What's the Batwing style liner? I have to look at this. Yeah, that's not really my territory. So like, unfortunately for a lot of you, you ask a lot of questions about like specific face shapes or eye shapes, and I can give you the best advice that I possibly can, but I'm not a makeup artist who goes out and does makeup on people. So I don't have a ton of experience with different eye shapes or skin tones or skin textures and all that. So my advice to you comes strictly from like my experience, and I try to tailor it for like whatever you're asking me, but I don't know. I'm looking at this thing on Allure that says, you know, the winged liner on hooded eyes. It makes sense. I can understand that it would be time consuming. It looks like it's a lot of steps to try and get it more even. I would say don't do your eyeliner so thick. Like the liner that I'm wearing right now is just like a basic powder. It's just an eyeshadow, and I kept it extremely thin. So if I were you, I would invest in like a very, very thin angled brush. The one that I used was from formerly Kat Von D Beauty. What is this called actually? 70 brush, and it's incredibly thin, super precise. This would be fantastic. Look at how like Kylie Jenner does her eyeliner. Like she keeps it so thin. So I would actually I think it would be better for you rather than taking it like up here and doing like a thick, typical winged liner, taking it at the outer corner of your eye and just keeping it really, really thin so that you're just kind of like extending your eye so that it kind of looks like an extension of your eyelash rather than doing something like ridiculously thick, you know? Like if you're struggling with that, I would just give that a try. That would be my recommendation. What's your opinion about mineral makeup? Do you use any? Is it good coverage? That's interesting because I just recently, I had been thinking about sort of revisiting Bare Minerals. Remember Bare Minerals? Like forever ago? And I've been seeing all of these ads about like kind of bringing back the original like Bare Minerals powders. And for whatever, I don't know why, but I had been thinking about checking them out again. So I actually recently purchased the Bare Minerals Matte Original Foundation. This is the SPF 15. I got Golden Fair, and I've only like experimented with it a little bit for like very natural looking makeup. I also picked up the under eye setting powder Well Rested, which I think I tried like when I was really, really young. Like I remember my mom used to use Bare Minerals, so this is still kind of new to me, even though it's a little bit of a throwback. I am experimenting with it. I'm intrigued by it. I have a feeling that it'll be a lot more lightweight and better for my skin in the summertime. This is a question I'm gonna have to revisit. But if you guys are interested in seeing like a demonstration of me using the concealer, like the powder concealer and the powder foundation, let me know, because I'll do it. How long did it take you to find a makeup routine that suits you? Love from India. Hi, Jordan. Holy shit, dude. I don't know. 29 years? Yeah, I mean, it's been so much trial and error. I think it's just that your tastes change so much over time. Like when I first started doing makeup, I was like, fucking, I'm gonna go in with the smokiest eye. I'm gonna put red inner corner, and I'm gonna have like black lipstick and, you know, like some blue in the center or whatever, and like the most beaming highlight. And then I started to go a little bit more towards like natural. I've gone kind of back and forth. As far as technique, I feel like it's probably taken me a good 5 years to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I understand my face shape. I understand like the products that work best for me, and I've really gotten it down. But I mean, my makeup routine is constantly changing. I'm constantly learning from other people and, you know, just like trying different products and different techniques. So it's kind of like an ever evolving thing. No, I gotta cut that out. I'm just gonna insult people. I'm a new sub and I love your channel. I'm 50 and I would like to hear your tips on makeup for aging skin. Mine is dry and I have some rosacea on my cheeks, so I prefer full coverage foundation. I use To Love pressed powder that Clinique makes, but now powder looks terrible. Do you have any suggestions on powder that's very pigmented, that doesn't make my skin look bad? So yeah, that's really tough because once again, I don't do makeup I don't do makeup on other people. I guess my guess would be that maybe a little bit of color correcting would be a little bit better. So instead of using powder, since it clearly tends to, like, it dries out your skin, if you are more mature, your skin tends to be more dry, you want to stay away from powders as much as you possibly can. So I would suggest maybe using a color corrector for your rosacea. So going in with like a green color corrector. There's color correctors everywhere. You know, you don't need something that's going to be like ridiculously full coverage. You could use something that's maybe a little bit more like toned down. They're kind of all, I'm kind of blanking on all of them, but basically every single brand has some kind of a color corrector. So if you go in with a little bit of the green in the areas that you have rosacea first to kind of like neutralize that color, and then go in with like a very hydrating, more natural foundation for the rest of your skin, maybe something more hydrating, something like the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, which is incredibly hydrating. That would be good. It's also very lightweight, so it might, I don't know, that might be a little bit of a leap for you because you said you like full coverage, but if you're having trouble with like very dry skin, you want to kind of pull back and maybe go in with a little bit more skincare and stuff. You could also cut the foundation that you have right now by mixing it with your lotion. I would give color correctors a try. So she says that she uses It Cosmetics Bye Under Eye Concealer and find that it creases. Even setting powder doesn't help. So my guess would be that it's just too thick a formula for you. Either you're using way too much or it's just not really reacting with your under eye great. I would use something maybe, see, this is tough because I don't know what your skin type is. I don't know if you have like really dark circles. I don't know if you have like a ton of fine lines. My suggestion would be that maybe you're using a little too much, so try using a little bit less. If you are using it to try and cover up very dark circles, then maybe try a color corrector first so that you can use a little bit less of the concealer and see how that goes. I prefer not setting it because it is so dewy and I find it to be very flexible. So it moves really well throughout the day when I don't set it, but I'm not using like a ton of it because it is quite thick. So, have you always been a makeup artist or did you switch to that profession at some point? I love your looks so much and your witty, dry humor. Thanks. So I have not always been a makeup artist. Again, it's like a little bit difficult to explain what I am exactly, because I was never a professional makeup artist. I was never going out and like doing people's makeup. I never did that. I've done makeup for like friends' weddings. That's the extent of it. So no, I went to school for painting. A lot of you guys know this already. I have an art background. I went to school for painting. I worked as a graphic designer, and then I started to make a transition into makeup and kind of like worked my way into the makeup world with that background, my design and art background, and then you know, social media became my like main thing. So this person asks me about the EX1 foundation regarding olive skin tones. Personally, now that was suggested to me a long time ago, and I remember trying it, and it, in my opinion, the EX1 foundations are just as neutral as like everything else. So I don't find them to be good for olive skin tones at all. As far as fair olive skin tones go, I don't know about like medium skin tones, medium deep or whatever, but they just seemed like either really orange or really yellow. So I was like, this is bullshit. And I was very upset that I purchased so many of them. I seem to have a random issue with foundation lifting a bit when applying powdered contour or blush. I can't pinpoint it to any specific brush, contour, foundation, or application technique. I stick with powders because I tend to have oily skin. Any wisdom or light to shed? All right, Ashley, are you setting your face before you're going in with these powders? Because if you are applying powder to just like your foundation without setting it, I could understand that it would lift, because you're going in with a dry thing, and especially if you're doing like circular motions, you're going to be lifting up that liquid. So that would be the first one. It could also have a lot to do with like how you're applying it. Like, are you going in with crazy circular motions? Have you tried patting it with a brush rather than, you know, doing that? That would be my question and my suggestion. It could also be that you're applying too much foundation. So if you're going in with like a ton of foundation, even if you are setting it with a powder, the powder doesn't really set. It just kind of like sits on top of that foundation. So then when you go in, especially if you are using circular motions, it can kind of start to like pull that up or loosen it, basically. Yeah, it sounds gross. Have you tried applying powder before your foundation? This is the new shit. I've been doing this like crazy. Yes, I know Wayne Goss has been talking about it. Yes, I know Jackie Aina has been talking about it. Blah, blah, blah. I said that in my video. It's new to me still, but I have been doing it and I fucking love it. The most efficient routine for thick eyelashes without falsies. I'm guessing most efficient routine for thick eyelashes without falsies. I'm guessing you're asking for like how to make your eyelashes look more thick. I keep catching my like gigantic man hands without my fucking nails. It looks so bad. All right, anyway. So I don't know. I never really like try to make my eyelashes look super thick. I just like to make them look lifted and defined. So my favorite technique is really just like curling them and then going in with a waterproof mascara, because my lashes don't really hold a curl on their own. So, and my favorite one is the Lancome Monsieur Big mascara, Mr. Big. I have received so many suggestions for like drugstore waterproof mascaras, and I've tried so many of them and they just do not do the same thing. This is the best one in my opinion. So if that's part of your problem, I would do that. And if you want them to be a little bit thicker, you could go in with this first, let it set completely, and then go in with a fiber mascara or something that's going to be a little bit more like thickening. The Pat Mcgrath mascara is fantastic for that. The Hourglass Caution mascara is great. What's that other one? The Milk mascara is great. Something that has like a little bit of fiber, it adds a little bit more like volume and length. But if you do it over a waterproof mascara, it'll help hold the curl. Oh, Molly W, Fox Eye Trend, legit just shaved half my eyebrow off and can't draw it on. I love the look though. Any ideas on products to use to get realistic brows? Which ones would you recommend? Molly, I literally just said this because I clearly just filmed that video. I literally said, please don't shave off your eyebrows. Okay, so for very, very natural looking brows, in my opinion, my favorite thing has been a brow pen. So where are they? So today what I did was I just like brushed up my brows and then I went in and filled the sparse areas with this guy. This is Lime Crime Bushy Brow. I also love Glossier Brow Flick. Somewhere around here. The colors are fantastic. Kind of tough. If you're blonde, I would suggest this one from Lime Crime. Great color, Dirty Blonde. It's a little bit more natural. The blonde from Glossier is very warm. Their brown is fantastic though. And so many brands have brow pens. Those are my two favorites, but those are definitely going to get the most natural because you can just like literally draw in natural hairs. So, or natural looking hairs, like super fine and thin. So that's what I would recommend. Don't shave off your eyebrows. I mean, unless you absolutely want to. Thank you, Nardine. You're cute. Do you have any tips for textured and super oily skin? Number 1, skincare. Some kind of a chemical exfoliant, probably a lactic acid, maybe a retinol. You want to make sure that you're not like combining all of those things though, because it will give you probably a chemical burn or something. Oily skin, sounds like you need to hydrate. Most often you should be using some kind of a skin, like an oil, marula oil or jojoba oil or rosehip oil, any of the skin oils. I've been using the ones from Good Molecules and I love them. So that's what I use most often. And yeah, I use like AHAs, BHAs to basically like exfoliate my skin for texture. I guess that's what I would say. It's gonna be a lot of skincare. I'm using 2 eye creams that promise to reduce puffiness and dark circles. Not too impressed so far. Do you recommend any? No, I don't use eye creams. I've never used anything that like legit helps with darkness, and I don't really get puffy. So my suggestion would be some kind of cucumber something. I would get like, not, rather than an eye cream, I would get one of those like eye patches that you keep in the fridge. You know, Good Molecules actually has one. Pixie has some. There's a bunch of brands that have them, but they're just like gel eye patches. If it's under your eyes, as far as eyelids, wake up a little earlier, you know, so you can depuff. I don't know. What were your favorite makeup products as a teen? Any makeup throwback cringes? So many makeup throwback cringes. I was definitely a fan of, what was that mascara? What was it called? The CoverGirl, was it Lash Blast? Is that what it was? It was the one that had like it was the plastic wand that was super, super thick, you know, like really spiky. Oh, and a black eyeliner. Loved a black eyeliner. I can't remember which one I used, but I would go in with the black eyeliner on the top, pretty much all around. Waterline, I was one of those girls, all the way around, and then just a shitload. I remember I used to love doing my eyeliner like really, really dark, really, really black, and then when I went in with my mascara, I would like hit my lower lash line as well and just like deepen it up even more. Like it would be so black, and I remember loving putting the black eyeliner down there because then I didn't have to be like precise with my mascara. I could just like, you know, it didn't matter where it went because it got all over the place. Yeah, that was horrible. Also, not doing anything to my eyebrows. I've always been a dark circle girl, so concealer, I used to use the Neutrogena one, which was like way too pink for me. I used it forever. I don't know. I didn't really have that many like makeup favorites. I haven't talked this much in a really long time, so my throat is just like. Any makeup tips and tricks for oily eyelids? Any recommendation makeup for a beginner? Oh, well, I mean, that's way too broad, but for oily eyelids, make sure that you're using like a mattifying eye primer, I guess. And you can go in with powder before you apply your eyeshadow. That'd probably be best. Being self-taught is incredible and your talent is undeniable. Stop it. But at what point did you feel confident and comfortable enough to start posting tutorials, not just looks? Oh, that's a good question. Oh man, I don't know. I guess whenever I started my YouTube channel, which was like a long time ago, I don't know if I necessarily felt like confident enough in my skills, but people were asking me to, so I finally did it. And it was very on and off. I didn't really honestly, I never wanted to do YouTube. I had no interest, but people kept asking me, and finally I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. It definitely took a long time before I actually enjoyed it. Probably like, I don't know, maybe up until a week ago. But yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of like, I guess it was just like the fact that people were asking, people wanted to see it. It kind of helped me become a little bit more comfortable with like uploading tutorials, you know? It took a decent amount of time. You mentioned before once that you were into art. Did you ever pursue that professionally? Would love to know how you got into this career, or if you haven't spoken about it, thanks for sharing. Yeah, so I obviously already went over like a little bit of my background. Most people already know that, but I was going to. So my plan was after college to work on my portfolio and get my master's in painting, figure painting, and then I was going to teach it. I was going to be an art professor, which I think, you know, in some ways, that's what I am right now. My face is super asymmetrical, thus my eyebrows never look the same no matter how hard I try. What are some good tips for that? Totally understand. Really difficult. This is something that I think everybody struggles with because, like, no matter how symmetrical you think you are, like, people think I'm so symmetrical, and I'm like, no, I'm not at all. I'm actually really asymmetrical in my opinion. So one of the things that you can do is, like, for example, this eyebrow, I can't really tell. I can't really show you here, but okay, for example, say one of your eyebrows comes up higher than the other one and the other one is a little bit more straight. What you can do is kind of like try to focus on the one that comes up too high. Try not to fill in the like upper part of your brow. Try to focus on sort of like extending it in the like the underside, bringing the like strokes downward. And then for the one that's a little bit more straight, try not to follow that line exactly. Try to go up above it, and then same deal with like the top of your brow. So basically what you can do is just try to like even them out as much as you possibly can. It might feel a little bit weird at first, but if you kind of like, if you're doing your makeup and you step back and look, you can really see how uneven they are. Like you can see this one comes up way more than this one, you know? You're never going to get them perfect, but by doing that, you can kind of like compensate for the irregularities was the word that I was looking for. Hi, Alex. You may be surprised to hear that you have subscribers who are trans or cross-dressed. Transforming a male face to look more feminine is a different skill set than most of your subscribers have to deal with. Your techniques and personality make you a joy to watch. Oh, stop. You people. My question is, what happens when one day my makeup looks spot on and the next day, same face, train wreck? Does this happen to anyone else? Confidence is looking good. Looking good makes you more confident. Circle of life, peace and love, Sheila. That's a great question. Fuck yes, dude. All the time do I do my makeup one day and it looks fire. And then the next day I'll do it exactly the same. Or I'll try to recreate that look. Garbage. I look awful. So, I mean, it's just like that just happens. I think it's with everything. Like you'll bake a cake one day and it's perfect, and then you bake a cake the other day. Not that I've ever baked a cake. I've never baked a cake, but I can only imagine that like it's ever evolving. So unfortunately, yes, it is something that people deal with all the time. I think that's just it's one of the harsh realities of life, that things can never be the same. You're not alone. Trust me, we all look like shit sometimes. Most of the time. How do you edit your photos? I would really like some lighting tips and retouching tips. By the way, I love you. You're gorgeous. Thanks. So most of my photos, the ones that I post on Instagram, I'm just like in my bedroom, direct sunlight. I'm actually like waiting for the sun to come down a little bit more so that I can go do that. And then I just use my phone. I use this camera, not this camera. Retouching, for the most part now, I don't really use it as much because the direct sunlight just makes me look fly. So that's like when I take my videos and stuff, they're unedited, you know, I just sit in the sunlight, take the video, upload it. Obviously I pick the best one. However, sometimes like if I have this breakout right here that's really bothering me. I've got like some shit happening on my chin that I was too lazy to actually conceal. So if I take photos of this and it's really just bothering me, then I'll use like Facetune to just get rid of that. That's basically it. I don't really take photos with my camera anymore. When I did, I would bring them into Photoshop and that's where I would do my retouching. But honestly, I don't really do it. I kind of like try to rely on the lighting because that just makes things look absolutely fire, you know? And also my skin has, with the exception of recently because of all of the sugar that I've been having, my skin's been clearing up. So I don't really feel the need to like get rid of imperfections, you know? Okay, so this person has a scar on both her eyebrows in different places. And she says when she draws her eyebrows on, pencil, powder, pomade, whatever, it just doesn't stick. So she's looking for a trick to help. That's interesting. Maybe using an eyeshadow primer in that area might help. Or, no, but that might be too sticky. Maybe try using like an eyeshadow primer just in that area, because it might give like the product a little bit of grip, you know? I don't know, give that a shot. What's Pat Mcgrath like in person? So I've only met her one time, but she was lovely. Very complimentary, very sweet. It was pretty short-lived. She was very nice. What do you do when people have a neutral olive undertone and pale as fuck? That's me. What do you do? I like that. What do you do? Well, I have mentioned this in another video. If you have a foundation that doesn't match you perfectly, it's actually really great. This is sitting right here. I buy the NYX color correcting liquids. This is in the shade green. They have a bunch of different colors. They have yellow, blue, pink, whatever, basically anything that you need. You can mix this directly in with your foundation to adjust the color so that it's not so orange or so red or so pink or whatever. Yeah, that's what I would do. With people taking the time to experiment more or just not wear makeup at all, what trends do you think might emerge in the next year? I have no idea. Yeah, I'm really bad at that kind of thing. I'm not a trendsetter. I am basically living under a rock. I don't pay attention to what's going on, so I cannot answer that question. I apologize, Barb. Hello, I just started watching your videos and I love them. You are hilarious. Stop it. And I get excited when I see that you have posted something new. You're sweet. Anyway, what do you think is one thing that makes a difference if your makeup lasts all day? Primer, setting powder, which product would you recommend spending money on in order to achieve long-lasting, crease-free, airbrushed look? So it's kind of a combination of the two, actually, primer and setting powder. So personally, for me, and I have mentioned this a couple times, what I've been doing is that, and I don't know if you have heard about this specifically, Addie, but there's a new technique, not a new technique, but there's a technique out there that has become like quite the rage. And it is applying powder after your moisturizer or your primer and before your foundation so that you're not using a setting powder at the end, but before. And it helps to create more of a base, more of a grip for your foundation to stick to without having to set it later on. And I think this is my favorite technique. I have been doing it ever since. I have not set my face at all. I can go in with powders. I can go in with creams. It makes me feel like I'm wearing way less makeup. It also makes it feel like the process is so much faster. And I personally think that it makes my skin look the best. So what was her question? I think it's kind of a combination. I think maybe investing in like a really, really beautifully milled powder. The one that I've been using has been the Pat Mcgrath Labs powder. The formula is just stunningly beautiful. You don't need a lot. Fills in those pores. When you put your foundation over it, it doesn't like build up or cake up or anything. This has been my favorite. It creates such a beautiful like airbrushed finish. Fantastic. So I would recommend that if you're going to like invest in a product. And then you can basically use like whatever primer or whatever moisturizer you've been using before that. Oh my god, okay. What do you think about clean beauty? Sorry, I should wait for it to, there we go. What do you think about clean beauty, makeup and skincare? Do you use it? Do you mind it? I would love to hear your opinion. I don't really know that much. I like the idea of it. Don't know that much. Not well enough versed in the subject, but when I go on Sephora.com and I see clean, I like that. I don't really know that much about it. I haven't really done my research, to be completely honest with you, but I like the idea of it. I don't know what constitutes it as clean. I know it's like no parabens and all that kind of shit. But when I go for like skincare, just because for the most part, I've been trying to like use products that are just like no bullshit. That's what I go for. Cause like I buy organic groceries, organic meat and stuff like that. And like, you know what I mean? I'm like one of those people. Like I'm no crusader. I'm not out there telling people that they should be like using these things, but I like it, I guess. Come say hi. You little fatty. The people want to see you more. No? No? Do you love me? Are you playing your love games with me? She hates this. You want to get down? Okay. I'm going to get bit later for that. Drop your current and or top 5 contour products for olive tone girls. Dude. So I've been loving, I mean, I've talked about it a million times. The KKW Beauty Contour Stick in the shade Light Medium is a great color. That's probably my favorite contour color of all time. Yeah, I have like 2. And then this is the Dior Backstage Contour Palette. This shade right here. So good. You can kind of see the similarities. This one is a little bit warmer, and this one's probably a little bit more olive. So if you're looking for a powder, bomb, I'm telling you. I literally bought this palette for that shade. It's Dior, it's not cheap, but the color, fantastic. Literally the only ones for olive skin, like truly for olive skin. So I definitely don't have 5, sorry. But yeah, those are the ones that I would recommend. How many minutes do you wait after applying your foundation before you set your foundation with loose powder? So like I apply my foundation, then I apply concealer, then I apply contour, then I apply, you know what I mean? Like, so my foundation is sitting for a little bit before I apply my powder. That's not an intentional thing. I'm just going in with all of my creams first. So I feel like if I was just going to apply foundation and then go in with a powder, I wouldn't really wait. See, you know? I don't know. How do you get your hair that color? I love your hair. Thank you so much. So the woman who does my hair color, her name is Sarah, and her boyfriend is the one who cuts it. They actually own a salon in Hollywood, if you guys happen to be in LA. I do have a video of like when I went platinum, and they're obviously in it because they're the ones who, like, basically since that, I've just been going to them. They're fantastic, and she's amazing. So I've had a few people be like, do you bleach your hair yourself? No. Don't do that. But yeah, so like I'll link them down below. You guys should go follow their socials. They're fantastic. Like they do sick stuff. But yeah. So I don't know. When it starts to get a little bit yellow, I do, because like that does happen over time. I try to avoid purple shampoos for as long as possible, and I use the toning drops by, what the fuck is it called? IGK. I actually did a campaign with them for it. I was actually, if you might see me in one of the ugliest photos I've ever taken in my entire life, it's in Sephora's and Ulta's across the nation, which is really fun. But it's basically like these toning drops that you apply to like a leave-in conditioner or your pomade or whatever. And rather than having to like wash your hair with like a purple shampoo and like strip the color, it kind of just like adds that color to tone it. I actually used them today because my hair was getting a little bit yellow. But yeah, they're great. And they're like small and on the go. I've had the same bottle for like ever now, and it's amazing. It's definitely was a life changer. All that, everything I talk about will be linked below. What are a few makeup trends you wish would die? Oh my god, so many. I mean, I don't really care, you know? I definitely don't like going on social media and seeing people paint on like concealer. That really bothers me because I'm just like, oh, I feel so bad for your skin, you know? All of the crazy color correcting with like lipstick and stuff, that can die. All the annoying ones. We all know what they are. What part of your makeup routine is your favorite? Ooh, I don't know. That's really difficult. I don't think I could pick one thing. I really love highlighting. It is fantastic. But I think probably concealer, just because it like transforms my face, you know? Like I hate having dark under eye circles. So when I put concealer down, I'm like, oh, yes, this is the face that I want, you know? Oh, finally, this is not related to makeup, but what is your personal upside to staying indoors and isolating? Mine is finally getting around to cleaning all parts of my house. I'm really glad that you have the motivation to be able to do that. I don't know, I don't really have an upside. I mean, it's nice that my boyfriend is home all the time. It's also really annoying that my boyfriend is home all the time, mostly for work. I don't really have a personal upside. Not much has changed for me. No. One of my personal upsides is that since my boyfriend is home, we can like work out together and go for walks together. That's probably my personal upside. Because we don't really, like, usually he's gone and he's working and he doesn't really have the time to do those things. And it's nice to be able to spend that time together. What does your last name come from? Stop. I'm not even going to read that part. So my last name is actually my middle name. It's Anele, and it is Lithuanian. How exactly do you wash your brushes and how often? Probably not as often as I should, but I have a lot of brushes, so they build up, you know? I try to wash them as often as I possibly can, though. Like right now, I would like to wash. I've been washing them more. I just use like the no nonsense like dish soap, like the stuff that's like supposed to be natural and like free of all that shit, you know? Like the stuff that they like clean ducks with. If they clean a duck with it, you know what I mean? Ooh, what do you think about YouTube, Instagram makeup looks on camera versus in person? Could this difference be misleading for viewers? I'm more thinking of influencers who use an excessive amount of makeup on camera and look flawless. Totally. So that's interesting. When I first started doing YouTube, because of the camera that I was using, I could go in with my makeup, like really intense contour, super intense highlight. I felt like I needed to wear a lot more for it to actually show up on camera. Personally, I think this setup that I have, because I'm using an incredibly like clear, crisp camera, like you guys can see everything. You know what I mean? Like when I don't have makeup on, there's no filters on this shit. So you see, you know, all the breakouts that you guys like love to point out. Not all of you, but I am shading the other ones. So it is very clear. So this is incredibly true. What I would say is like regarding my setup, sometimes it can look either a little bit desaturated or oversaturated. So like some palettes might look like ridiculously vibrant. It's kind of just like how the camera picks it up. Other people, and you can tell who they are because they do look completely flawless. Yeah, I think that's crazy. It's a little bit crazy. I understand when you're putting yourself on camera wanting to have some kind of a filter over it, but it does make them look perfect, even though they're wearing a shitload of makeup. And there have definitely been times where I've gone to events and I've met some of these people in person, and I'm like, wow, there's too much there's just too much happening here. Like there's just too much on your face right now. Like it just does not look good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to tell who those people are. Like if you are watching someone, unfortunately, on YouTube and they have a filter over their video, like obviously nobody is that fucking perfect. It's gonna be kind of hard for you to take their recommendations, you know, especially if you will notice once you start like buying things and they're just not working for you well. Like obviously certain products are going to work differently on different people, but if it's consistent, you know, that they are making recommendations and they're just not working for you at all, that might have something to do with it. So yeah, I think it's bullshit. Which drugstore eyeshadows would you recommend if I'm looking for both color payoff and blendability? I have found eyeshadows with one of these things, but not both. I don't know what that means. As a SAHM, S-A-H-M, what does that mean? Student at home marketing. What the fuck does that? I don't know what that stands for. On a budget. I always suggest these, the Maybelline City Mini Palettes. I love them. They are like typically with drugstore, you're going to have a little bit extra filler. So super colorful shades might not be as pigmented. Those are really great. And they have like, they're really beautiful. I love the size of them. The layouts are stunning. And like the colors do have really great payoff and they blend really nicely. So that's what I would recommend. How long do you let moisturizer sunscreen set before applying primer and makeup? So the primer that I always use is just a sunscreen, but I moisturize when I get out of the shower. So I'm like a morning shower person. I don't shower at night. So like fresh out of the shower, I apply my moisturizer and then I usually would start filming maybe like an hour after that, 40 minutes to an hour after that, because I'm like setting stuff up or eating or something, you know? I would give it at least 30 minutes to really like sink in. And then I usually apply my sunscreen, which is this guy, which is kind of like a pore filling formula. And then I just go straight in with my foundation. Moisturizer, I think, is the most important thing to let set. Are you good at math? You seem like you are. That's hilarious. I failed 2 math classes. So you answer that question. My mascara always smudges and I don't know what to do. That's tough. I mean, are you setting your under eyes? What formula are you using? Maybe try a waterproof formula and place a little bit of translucent powder underneath your eyelashes. That could help. Give that a shot. How can you tell if a product is going to oxidize a different color or not? I keep buying foundation colors and I think they match me, but when I get home, it's always wrong after wearing it for a while. Thanks. So the worst possible thing you can do is like use the Sephora or Ulta lighting because it's garbage. So what I would suggest is pick an area of your body that is easily accessible, an appendage perhaps, that is close to like the color of your neck, your shoulders. Swatch it, you know, like the top of your wrist, whatever, something like that. So swatch some colors, let it dry down, walk around, go outside, then compare with the sunlight. That's the best bet because it is true. Like if you're in any kind of synthetic lighting, you're just not going to get the right match, you know? It's very, very difficult, especially at those fucking places. And don't do their little like IQ, let me match you shit. They're always wrong. No offense, guys. Any advice for forehead wrinkles and foundation? I'm 19, but at the moment the moment I put any foundation on my forehead, I instantly age 20 years. I just want the color on my face to be cohesive. So, do you have a lot of breakouts out there? Do you need like a lot of coverage? What I would do is just use the tiniest amount, like use a very, very light amount. It sounds like you might be just applying too much. I understand that because like I'm very expressive up there as well, and I do tend to get like creasing throughout the day. But you could also, yeah, I would just try to use a little less. And then maybe the formula that you're using, it could be a little bit too dewy or a little too thick. Oh, say you have nothing. Starting from scratch, skincare and makeup, what are the first 10 things you buy? This is a really good one to stop with. Fuck. First 10 things. Concealer, 100%. Are you looking for like specifics? I'm just gonna keep it broad. So skincare and makeup. Concealer is the first thing that I'm buying immediately. I guess I'll get specific. Oh, what's my favorite concealer? That's so hard. I guess I would buy the Pat Mcgrath Skin Fetish Sublime Concealer because that's the one I've been using so much lately and I really love it. So that, I would buy that number 1. Concealer, 100%. Fuck. Then I would buy a moisturizer. The one that I've been using is the one from, oh shit, what's it called? Ugh, I always forget what they're called. It's the coconut brand. They like make all the coconut stuff. Oh, that's so gonna bother me. Oh wait. Kapari. These guys. I've been using their like daily moisturizer. Then I buy sunscreen, my Tizo or Tizo, whatever, however you say this. That's 3. Sunscreen, moisturizer, concealer. Everything for me right now is going towards skincare because that's like so important. I would buy a cleansing balm, the one from Good Molecules, running out of things really quickly. So I have a moisturizer, a sunscreen, and a cleansing balm. That's pretty good. And I have a concealer. Then I would buy a lip balm because I can't live without that. That one, the Kapari one. Fuck. I need a brow product. Then I would buy a brow pen, probably either Glossier or my Lime Crime one. That's 6. Brow pen and concealer. That's all I have right now. Then I would buy a cream bronzer of some sort. Maybe my KKW Beauty one, the medium one. So I've got a bronzer, concealer, brow pen. Then I would buy my Lime Crime Topist lip liner. Am I good on skincare? See, I need so much more skincare, but I'm trying to think of like how I could do a full face. So I've got my lip liner, I've got a bronzer. Then I would go in with my, I'm so close to the end. Then I would go in with my Lancome Monsieur Big waterproof mascara. That's lashes, lips, concealer, bronzer. I don't need a foundation. I could just do it with concealer. Oh, it's between highlighter and blush. Okay, if I'm sticking with what I have, since I've only got the one thing left. Oh man, I think I would have to forego blush and I would buy a cream highlighter. Maybe the one that I'm wearing right now because it's so fucking beautiful. So this is the one I'm wearing is by Dominique Cosmetics. It's new, it's the Skin Gloss. And it's so natural, you can like build it up or tone it down. But I think that's what I would do. Yeah, but that's not enough skincare. And it's definitely not enough makeup. But if I was starting from scratch, those are the first things that I would buy. Just to be able to like get through life. But then after that, I would probably just like go full force on skincare. Like, that was rude, it just shut off while I was talking. Anyway, I was saying that I would just like go full force on skincare. Like I would buy oils and I would buy masks and then I would like start going into like foundation and all of that stuff. Those are the first things that I would buy. All right, that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm really hungry. That was very long. Again, if you enjoy this kind of thing, let me know. We can do another one. Maybe we could do different topics. I basically just kind of want like an excuse to just sit and chill because I'm getting really bored, you know? Even though I'm an introvert, I'm like really over this shit. All right, I'm gonna go take pictures of this and remember to check out this tutorial if you haven't seen it already so you can look snatched. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, I'll see you soon, I guess.